Zeus, I don't care what I squat. Everything is going to make you want to give up. I don't care if you're injured. I don't care if you're healthy. Come May 30th, when I step on that platform, it's the end of you. Zeus is going to be slaughtered. Remember that.
It's time to sit down, keep it real, and cut the bullshit. Welcome to Table Talk.
I'm going to jump off with a quote of yours. You can't out-total a bad relationship with yourself. Can you elaborate a little bit on that one? We'll get into your timeline and all the other kind of stuff, but I like to jump off with something that kind of will show where we're going to go throughout.
Yeah, definitely. So with lifting, at least for me, it was big of my mental release from mental health, all my issues going on. And what I found is you will never, if you just chase the total, you're just going to eventually fall back into that depression. If you fall into the numbers, you are not going to be able to ever be happy. You have to just put the numbers aside and work on being better for yourself and bettering yourself, opposed to, I need to beat this guy, I need to beat that girl, stuff like that.
It's interesting because of the journey that you went through, which we'll get into, is when you first start, the numbers are going up pretty quick. Oh, yeah. So it is a good relationship with yourself, because you're like, hell yeah, this is awesome. I'm getting better. I'm getting better. Then when you rise to the level that you're at now, it's like, oh, fuck. Oh, now part of the game is just getting back to where you were, you know, to be able to progress forward again, which if training is used as a tool to be able to help with the mental health, but you know, this is where I think some people screw up, and kind of what we'll get into is some people don't realize it's the tool. They think it's the thing.
Correct.
Right. So then an injury happens or a plateau happens, and then the thing, you know, it's
not helping no more.
It's worse because it did help. Right. So then you're caught in this spiral of, oh crap, this helped. Now it doesn't help. I got nothing. Right.
Makes you feel like you're nothing.
Yes. Yeah. So you found powerlifting, I believe, around 2010, right?
No. So I got into powerlifting in I think my first meet was 2019.
Okay.
But I found it in 2018. I started lifting in 2015. 2014, I slipped a disc in my lower back, so I had to stop right away.
Yeah.
Started lifting again in 2015 just to lose weight. I was 350 out of high school, no muscle, just living off of Doritos and Mountain Dew.
And that was the 2010, my notes I made into an infographic, and it threw me off a little bit. Was that the high school time? When did you graduate?
I graduated in 2014.
2014. Yeah. Right. So 2010
that would be beginning of high school.
Yes. So who were you in high school?
I was the fat kid that talked to almost no one and just tried to get in.
Nodding over there.
Yeah. Tried to get in sports. Never had grades for it. Didn't have a good home life. So I never had like a support system. And
oh, wait a minute. You grew up in Delco, right?
Yeah.
How didn't have the grades for it. I'm kind of thinking to myself, how bad were they?
Oh, Dave, they were.
You get where I'm going, because there's a lot of athletes.
Yeah. I was that cliche. Like nowadays, I'm that cliche. If you compare it back then, I can just do increments of 45. That was it. My school life was, I'd rarely go. I would skip school, go and just smoke weed and be a degenerate, or I just would stay home. My mom was an alcoholic, so I'd wake up for school, she's drinking out the bottle. She'd be asleep in 20 minutes. I would just walk outside, come back in, play video games, and just...
Was there a point to where I was kind of the same way. I never really cared, so I don't want to say cared. Was there a point to where the grades were like average, like 5th grade, 4th grade, or was it just bad all the way through?
No, elementary school, I was really good.
Okay.
Middle school, I was good until bullying started happening. And then that
was the weight?
Yeah, the weight. And then after that, in 2008, that's probably when they started to drop because my mom had a seizure during, never forget, the Phillies World Series. First pitch, when they do all the lights to start the show. And she started having a seizure right in front of me. I didn't know what was going on. So we had to call ambulance. They took her in.
So you're at the game?
No, we were at my house.
So it's just the TV that's strobing from that.
Yep. Just me and her because she was single mom.
Yeah.
And took her to the emergency room. My grandparents came over to take her. And after that,
so what'd you do? Because you're the only one did you call 911 or you just called your grandparents?
a neighbor called 911 for us.
Yeah.
And then so I lived in a condo and the backyard led to like other condos. And that's where my grandparents lived. So they were like walking distance. But yeah, she had a seizure. I didn't really know what to do. I ran to the neighbors next door. They called 911. They came and took her. And after that, she was told she can't work anymore. She had epilepsy. And then on top of her diabetes and bipolar, she just wasn't cleared to ever work.
Was she overweight too?
Yeah, she was.
I'm only asking because the diabetes.
I think at her worst, she was probably like 220, 230, but she was 5'11".
Yeah. So it's
yeah. Like for a female build, still big, but she was tall, so she didn't look like 230, but she looked out of shape. But yeah, so they took her in. They said she couldn't work anymore, and then the drinking got worse. So that's when the abuse in the home started. So bullying in school, getting abused by your only parent, and I just stopped caring about school. And I'll just stay home, play video games, smoke, just do whatever I could to forget everything.
So how did you move from one grade to the next and not get held back?
I made sure to only pass with D's, and
I'm laughing because I did the same thing.
Yeah. I do have, like, looking back at it, the teachers, especially my like dean, they cared so much about me, and they made sure that I did everything I could to just get that D to pass. So I really think if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't have, because they probably bumped up my grade a little bit, for being honest, because I didn't do much.
Was there any one of them that really stood out?
The dean, his name was Mr. Young. He'd bring me Christmas gifts. He'd always let me sit in his office if I needed a moment, like with the kids and everything. There were so many times where I retaliated with bullying that I should have been suspended, and he fought for me. So
how long did it take you to start retaliating?
So I was more of someone that reacted in middle school, because that was like, middle school, you don't really learn how to interact with people if they're being that way. Elementary school, you're just a kid. Middle school, you start to become kind of preteen. And I didn't have brothers or sisters, so I didn't know dynamics between people.
Now, when you went from grade school to middle school, was that, because in a way it can be a fresh start, because different friend groups come, because were there more schools feeding into the middle school?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, so you have an opportunity, I suppose, to be around different people.
Yeah.
But that can be pro or con.
Yeah, I tried to make it pro, but my weight got in the way. The kids were ruthless, and it just ended up being a horrible time. Middle school, yeah. We the one thing that sticks out, I think, was probably like a defining of, I'm not even going to try to be friends with people, was 7th grade. We did a class trip to whale watch. That whole month, I was getting called Shamu. People were making whale noises to me in the hallway. Good whale noises, but like just nonstop. And that was like definitely a defining moment of, if someone talks to me in the wrong way, I'm not dealing with it.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely did things whether they started or not, I definitely regret some of the things I did. Like I would put bullies in lockers because I was big.
Yeah.
No one has real muscle development yet, so weight is going to win. I would shove kids in lockers that were rude to me. I threw one kid downstairs. I'd smacked another kid's head against a radiator. Luckily, no one ever got
Did it
hurt.
lower? I mean, did it reduce the bullying?
For like a week.
Wow.
Or two. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Delco people are ruthless.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Because when I was going through that same type of thing, as soon as I started to retaliate, things changed really quick. Well, I was also training though too, so now I'm becoming more muscular. So you go from the kid that everybody fucked with to the kid nobody wants to fuck with. Yeah. But that didn't happen.
Yeah, not really. I'm sure some people definitely, but
well, after they
after
you, like they hit the radiator once, they don't want to do it again.
I will say the kid I put in the locker definitely didn't bug me again, but he was also like very short.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say he's got to be a little person to get shoved in a lock. Did you lock it?
I took his shoe off before I put him in and used his shoelaces to lock it. And they had to cut his laces off of his shoes. And
I'm sorry.
No, yeah. Yeah. It's funny. It was funny, but yeah, he left me alone after that. Probably because he needed new shoes. But
how long do you think he stayed in there?
He was at least in there for 20 minutes because it was during gym. So it was a gym locker. So the gym teacher was away. And he had to, you got to find scissors.
Mm-hmm.
He can't. Yeah. So at least probably like 15, 20 minutes.
Wow. And not to the same extreme, but I had somebody that was messing with me in junior high. And the locker is what made me remember this. I completely forgot about this. There's one dude that just would not leave me the fuck alone, right? And the retaliation and all the other stuff kind of wasn't working. So I came up with this idea to shit in a brown bag, like a lunch bag, right? And then as, the halls are kind of like bustling around and all that kind of stuff, and he's getting ready to shut his locker, I threw the bag of shit in his locker. And then it closes, right? And everybody's off to class now, so you're not really getting the whole thing. And then the whole school smelled like shit. And so the person became known as like shithead, after that. So and that was a weird one though, because you can't really make it known that you did it.
Yeah.
Because I already had enough demerits and all the other things that would accumulate against it. Did you, did this lead to any suspensions?
Yeah, I would get out of school suspension. In school suspension. I think the locker was in school. But
those were the worst.
Yeah.
Like out of school was like a treat.
But even the in-school suspension, I didn't mind because I'd be in that room not having to hear people say anything to me. I'd be able to just put my head down and just doodle or whatever. We didn't have phones. I didn't have one, but yeah, I wouldn't mind in-school suspension. And I became friends with the teacher for the room too.
Okay. So this ends up, because in schools you're normally tracked a few different ways. Either just past this kid, college prep, or like not tech, but trades. Yeah. Like trades. And so you were in this, let's just get this kid out. Yeah. Right. So you had the influence enough to be able to get from one grade to the next. Yeah. When you were a senior and you're starting to think about, did you even think about what you were going to do after high school? Because counselors are supposed to help with that, but they never really do.
So I wasn't going to go to college. I knew that. Yeah. I was working at a shoe store at the time. And at the time I loved sneakers because the nice fancy Jordans gave the kids something to compliment me on, opposed to
Yeah.
getting ridiculed. So I got really into sneakers, and then also, and it was to use me, but I get a discount at the time, so I was, oh, you want a discount on sneakers? Yeah, sure. Like, I can come over Friday and we can go Saturday. It made me kind of try to venture out to have friends. But after working at sneaker store, or during working there a little bit, I wanted to pursue pro wrestling. My grandfather died in 2011. That was the start of my depression, and he was a huge wrestling fan. We watched it every Monday and Friday. I watched my first WrestleMania with him and won $50 because I bet that Batista was beating Triple H. So it was great. It got into gambling young, but
well, you won.
Yeah. Well, you always want to get more into it. But on his deathbed, I said I would try to pursue it. And once, like in my senior year, realizing I wasn't doing anything, I started skipping school to go to the gym. So I'd take the bus to school, walk from Ridley High to Retro Fitness that I was training at, lift, and then just go home. My mom never noticed. I'd go back for some classes if it was like a test day or something like that, because I did do good on tests. I just, every other project or...
So the school wasn't set up that if you miss so many classes, it's like a demerit, right?
Yeah, no, I never, this was the second half of the year, so I didn't miss enough at that point.
Okay.
To where it's like they had to call. It was for if you miss too much school.
I think family services, right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I didn't hit that point.
It's not, I know what you're talking, it's not that, but it's not, yeah.
But yeah, so I started going there, and the first thing I was like, all right, I have to lose weight because I'm not going to be able to do anything. So
with the training though, while you're doing that, did you find out that you were actually strong? Like stronger than some of the other people?
Yeah.
And what type of program? I'm sure it's not a program, but like bodybuilding crap?
I walked in and I started with the bar from what I remember, like to figure it out, and squats with Smith machine because I, like everyone else, I'm like, I can't touch that yet. And I think...
Was the gym welcoming?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I ended up working there.
Okay.
But the gym was extremely welcoming, and I was doing at least 225 on bench to start. And it just, squats took some time. Deadlift took still taking time, if we're being honest. But I fell in love with the difference my body was beginning to show.
Were you able to comprehend that there was that community?
Yes, not in like a niche sport like powerlifting way, but like the gym community. Yes, it was very.
So there's no bullying and there's none of that shit going on.
No, there's no bullying. Everyone was friendly. Would root for you. Would give you a lift off and try to help you to get the next lift up. Mm-hmm. And I was just doing like.
Was that the first time that you really experienced that? Yeah,
definitely, in a healthy way. Because I did have a past in high school of like getting into drugs, and that was, they would root for you in like a bad way. You know? They'd be like, "Oh, you can take another, or you can have another shot, another beer, stuff like that." But in a positive light, yes. But yeah, I just started with. It would be for a few weeks. I would do 10 by 10, then 5 by 5, 3 by 3, and then I would be like, "Let me see what my max is."
All right. Now, are you using magazines, internet? I mean, where are you? Because you're not making it up.
Yeah, no. So I did go to elitefts for some stuff, like for the compounds, and then I would watch motivation videos on YouTube, like the CT Fletcher stuff, and that was a big one. So like, I would watch some of his workouts, or I'd watch some of the.
Dave Tate here from elitefts to talk to you about bands. We've been a supplier of bands for almost 2 decades now. So I've known my way around the band landscape. When I'm talking about bands, I'm talking about floss bands, long bands, short bands, bands you can use for resistance training, mobility training, body weight training, and flossing. One of our most popular bands, or actually our most popular bands, are the long bands. The long bands are typically used the most with squats, bench presses. Our floss bands are bands that you wrap around the joint to be able to help with mobility, circulation. And the short bands are designed for shorter range movements, bench press, deadlifts, and a lot of times people will use them with resistance machines to help accommodate the strength resistance curve. Head over to elitefts.com and look for bands in the toolbar or blowout menu.
There was one with, I forget, I think it was Mark Bell and Ed Cohen were benching. I'd watch that a lot, but a lot of my accessory stuff was like CT Fletcher. Like I hammered my tricep with a tricep gauntlet of like working your way through the dumbbells. Never made it to the end, but that's probably where I started like just building my own type of programming for myself until I eventually got a coach.
Okay. And you said something about losing 100 pounds. So what was the diet?
Intermittent fasting.
Okay. How so?
So I wouldn't eat until noon, and then I'd be done eating at that time. I think I stopped eating at like 7, and I would work out before noon. That way, just noon to 7 is I'm working and I'm eating, and that's it. My lifting is done. I'd work out on an empty stomach, burning just what I already had on.
All right. And this is post high school?
Yeah, so it's senior year of high school is when it started, but yeah.
Well, if you're not going.
Yeah. That's true.
So what were you working? What was your work? Because you said you were working.
So I was working in a shoe store, and then
That's right, you said that.
Yeah, then once I started at the gym, like I'm one of those people, I get tunnel vision. I'm gung-ho. And I was walking in the gym one day, and they said they were hiring. Like I heard them over talking about who they had some application, and I went to the front desk and I said, hey, like, can I apply? And I did. Luckily, even though I wasn't good in school, at the shoe store, I was there for like a year, worked my way assistant manager, and then I got transferred to another store where I was too young to be a store manager, but I was running the store because the store manager quit. So I was the only manager in there, and I was running it, and it was being successful. So my resume was good enough that they were like, yeah, I'm just a gym front desk. We'll take a chance. You have good work ethic. And I worked there until COVID. But working there definitely, it made the community stronger for me because I got to see everyone. And then, I see them lifting every day, rooting for them. Vice versa. They're like, oh, that's the guy that works here. He's putting up some weight. Let's cheer for him. But
how's that time-wise? How's that work out with the depression issues that you were going through?
I was still depressed, but it was my, 18, early 20s. I kind of had it masked with being busy. I was just lifting all the time, working at the gym, and going out a lot. Like I would do nights where I'd drink every day of the weekend, still train, hungover. I didn't even know if I was hungover because I was just so overstimulated. Taking pre-workout every day, and this is the pre-workout that like was allowed to have like some crazy stimulants. And then to just add to it, like I started working at a bar on Mondays and Tuesdays, bar backing and bartending. And then I got a job at Planet Fitness doing overnight. So I was working 3 jobs nonstop, not even really sleeping. So I didn't have the time to be alone in my head. And that was my point. Like I didn't want to stop and think. I just wanted to go. And that's how it kind of like masked the depression. But whenever I had a moment, it was not a good time.
So what happened after that phase?
Like after retro?
Well, after all 3 jobs.
COVID happened. The gym. So I competed before COVID happened.
So how'd that come about? The competing?
So I was in retro training, and I think I hit I think it was deadlifts, and I pulled 600.
Were there powerlifters there?
No. And I tried to go to a powerlifting gym, tried to go iron sport, made a fool of myself, put chalk on my shins, wore the squat shoes for deadlifting. Did not belong in the moment. I was just trying to get into it. But when I'd lift at Retro, I pulled 600 horribly, not even strongman standard.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the personal trainers was like, hey, you lost all this weight, because I was down 100 pounds at that point. I was down 244, and I think it was 2018. And she was like, you should try to do a powerlifting meet. And my first meet,
did you kind of know what it was?
I had an idea, like, because I watched like Ed Cohn videos, stuff like that. So I've seen it done, but I never knew any of the rules or anything like that. And I didn't even know the name of it. I'm like, oh, there's somewhere where they do all 3 lifts.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she convinced me, and everyone else at work convinced me. So I signed up for my first meet in York, like the York barbell for USAPL. And
so it was in York barbell. So it was in that little, I want to say auditorium, because it kind of is, but it's a cool place to lift. Yeah, I lifted there many times, but I don't want to say auditorium and have people think that it's like, you know, it's a big ass auditorium.
It's very small,
but it's a good first meet though. I mean, it can really damage your how you perceive every meet's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So how did that meet go?
I did not have a coach at the time.
Yeah.
I just trained myself, and instead of doing the 10, 5, 3, I did 5, 3, 2, and then 1. And I didn't know. I made the biggest mistake. I didn't read the rule book. Like,
I mean, nobody does.
Yeah. I knew that I needed to wear a singlet, socks to my knees, shoes, wrist wraps, stuff like that. But that was it. So I didn't know really commands till I got there. People in the back luckily told me, but.
And this was USAPL, so you have a start on the bench too, right?
Yeah. And squat, I didn't do that bad. I hit I think 520. I'm not positive. It's on open powerlifting, but I hit my squat, which I was happy about. Bench, I did okay. The pulls really took a lot out, and then I bombed on deadlifts. So.
Okay. How?
Because I had chalk on my shins and squat shoes on for deadlifting, and I kept hitching everything.
Oh, so you were pulling it?
Yeah. So I pulled it, but it didn't count. And to add to it too, my socks were like a snowboarding company, so they're really thick, and they did not help. Not everything was against me, and I've missed all. I got it up, I think 2 out of 3 times, and then the third I was just so defeated. I'm like, I can't do this. So
what about it made you want to continue?
I can't even really put like an exact like finger on it. It just, something was like, you can't let this be your one and only. And I kept training, and I didn't really think about doing one. And then I signed up for an RPS meet, but it got canceled because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, all right, well.
So what were you doing there because gyms were closed forever?
Yeah. I was just training at home, outside. I had resistance bands, so I was just doing whatever I could. I was doing stupid trends too. Like I benched my couch, recliner, stuff like that. But there was a gym near me called Delco Strength and Conditioning. They're closed now, but they were like kind of soft opening.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, all right, well, we're going to host a USAPL meet. And I started training there more because Retro was closed, and they closed for good. So as I was training there, I got my first coach. His name was John Goldstein, and he helped me a lot. and prep me for the USAPL meet that they had at their gym.
Now, were you training with him in person, or was this an online thing?
He was a coach there, and I started coaching there. That's how we became friends. And same thing, he's like, are you gonna compete? Like, you're strong? I'm like, yeah, but I'm a coach. I don't have anything. So he started coaching me and helping me out. And he basically did my programming. He was there whenever I was lifting, but it wasn't like he was one-on-one with me.
Yeah.
But I didn't really need it at that time. It was more just lift off on bench or spot me on a heavy squat. But besides that, he was doing his own thing. But he got me ready for my first meet back from the bomb out. And I came in first in my weight class. I was the only one though. But still first. But it was a good change.
Were the numbers better?
Oh, a lot better. I benched over 4. I forget what I pulled. I think
At
it was
that
5.
point, anything is a PR.
Yeah. You're right. And I squatted. I think I squatted 580 at that meet. I did on my second bench though. I stress fractured my clavicle. The way they had the bench set up, you were looking right into the light, and I didn't have like even grip. When I came down, I heard like a little like pop in my shoulder area, I thought, and I stress fractured my clavicle. I finished the meet though, because all the stimulants, like the pre-workout.
Yeah. Were you able to press it back up, or was that it?
I finished it, but it was like a little wonky. And then he was like, "What's going on?" Because I've done that in training. I was like, "I don't know. Just load up the third. We'll be fine." And I got the third too, but it was a lot slower. It hurt. But deadlifts, it's 3 lifts. Not really. I'm putting pressure on it, but in my mind, I'm like, oh, I just pulled something. It's not bench. We'll be fine.
Yeah. And
I finished the meet, luckily. Could have been the same as first meet, honestly. But
so how did you find out how damaged it was?
Well, I woke up the next day unable to really lift my arm up. Like, it was one of those pains. Like, I woke up from the pain, and then I didn't have best insurance, being like a personal trainer. So I just took ibuprofen, dealt with it, and after like a week or 2, I was like, all right, this isn't going away. I need to get checked. I can't lift with it, and like I need to get back to training. And I went to a doctor and said it was stress fracture, had to take some time. I was doing just single arm stuff until it was healed, and then finally got back into it to where I could compete the following year in my first untested meet.
What helped you make that decision to go from the USAPL to now we get into this, federation conversation, but because you ended up going the path of, it's a weird path that you guys take. And I'm always fascinated on how you guys navigate this, because the federations always kind of change, but the best always find where the best are.
Yeah.
And so the federation really kind of doesn't matter, but you're not there yet. So you don't really know where to go.
Yeah.
Right. So was it just RPS?
Yeah. So it wasn't RPS I did. It was USPA. RPS was the only other fed really around.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of where you're located and what's around.
Well, so Power Build, they had a gym in Conshohocken, and they were becoming big because they stayed open during COVID. And the guy who runs it, Colin Whitney, has such crazy work ethic that he made that place insane, to the point where once like COVID was kind of done for the first round, he opened up a King of Prussia location, and the grand opening was a huge turnout, and they announced they were going to do a meet called USPA SummerSlam with Bobby Bolin. And with the injury, I did start the untested journey. And
was that just because you thought it was going to be able to help with the injury?
So in training before I got into powerlifting, I told myself like 5 years, just training, drop the weight, see what I can do. And then like have that question again. And then with the injury, to me, it was that was my decision. I'm like, it's time for me to take this jump. And I'm, again, someone that is tunnel vision. I knew what I wanted to do, knew what I wanted to pursue. So I said, it's now or never. And I just started up.
Mm-hmm.
But, so untested meet USPA, at KOP location was my first meet to that new fed. And it was just because it was at the gym that I joined. I started going there at that point. But,
and how'd that one go? Because you got a bunch of variables going on.
Yeah. So I squatted 661.
Okay.
I think my bench was still only 420 because it was coming back from the clavicle. And then deadlift, I think I pulled 650. And then I came in second in my weight class. I did lose by 500 pounds to Zach Myers. So it's Zach. But
yeah.
That was my first meet of seeing big lifters because Zach was there. Travis Rogers, Papa Bear was there. And then some others. And it was just like, it opened my eyes to the other side.
How so? Because that can be intimidating or motivating.
It motivated me. I like Zach, seeing how crazy strong his all three lifts were. And like, we're not crazy different in height. To me, I'm like, well, if he can do it, I can do it. I've already lost 100 pounds before. I'm still here. I haven't taken my life. I can be that strong. So I'm going to continue down this path. So it kind of lit that fire under me even more.
How are you using training at that time to be able to battle your demons?
So when I go into train then, and even now, compound movement, like the main movement, wherever my top set is, it's kind of, I have a playlist of music that kind of triggers like me thinking about things. I play that and I just zone out and try to shut off the noise. Because during the day, I get thoughts of things all the time. Doubtful thoughts, things remind me like, you tried to take your life back then. You should have, you wouldn't be here, be better off. Like I have so many things that play through my head. So in the gym, I try to turn the music on to those songs that make me think of not those memories, but what I've been through successfully, and just try to tune out the noise.
Now, how long ago was it to where you were at that breaking point?
For like,
yeah.
So I did actually have, September 2024 was the first Rumble that I got invited to do. And I tore my bicep. And this past year has been recovery. I just competed at the Rumble 2 in October. But like a month before Rumble 2, I definitely had like a relapse where I was ready to. And
when was the first time?
For 2011, my grandpa died.
Okay.
Yeah, when he died, he was lung cancer. He had hospice. And I spent his last night with him. And he, I don't know if you've ever been to hospice for someone, but like they can't eat. So you have to use that little sponge thing. And I was supposed to stay up with him in case he needed it or needed anything. And I fell asleep. I woke up to him knocking it over, and I felt horrible. I was a kid, but he died the next day. So positive aspect is he waited for me. That, like, looking back at it, I know he waited for me before he went. But in the moment, I was like, I made him use too much of his strength on why he died. So that kind of sent me into a spiral. And there was nights where, I'd be walking home and I would have to pass train tracks and I'd stay there for about half hour to an hour and just like, if this comes, I'm going. Luckily, none ever did. I self-harmed. I would cut myself and would try to like cut myself and then just go to sleep. Hopes I'd be done. Took a bunch of pills multiple times to try to end it, and by the grace of God, I never passed. There was times where I should have and I didn't, but yeah, those were the first moments from 2011 to like end of high school where I had multiple attempts, and luckily it never worked out. But
what were the reasons why you didn't, right? Because there's trying and then there's doing.
Yeah.
Right. So in your mind, you're playing all these things back and forth, right? So there's other ways. Let's just, I'm trying to be like,
no, I know.
I'm trying to be as correct as I can and not get canceled on frickin' YouTube, right? There's other ways, but you didn't choose those other ways, right?
Yeah.
So why not?
So at that time, I was too young to own the easiest option.
Yeah.
And then the other one, I just didn't think, like, I know they could, but to me, 300 and something pounds as a kid, I'm like, a rope isn't gonna, like that's kind of messed up to do if it holds me, and I don't want to break my neck and then I'm still here and then I'm worse off. And there was also part of me, like, I didn't want to do it, and even though it would have been traumatic if they found me overdosed or anything like that, I never wanted to risk my grandma to see me in like the two main ways of how people usually do it. Because to me, I was like, I can't do that to her.
Well, I think sometimes when nothing else is going right, right? And because a lot of kids today are trying to find their purpose, right? But if you just kind of ask them, like, why don't you just check out? And then the answer is their purpose.
Yeah.
Right. So family, right?
Yeah.
Right. So but realizing it's a completely different thing.
Yeah. Putting that connection together isn't easy sometimes.
Yes. But if you see what I'm saying? If that's the main reason, like, I don't want them, to be able to find this, then what's that tell you about them?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
And so as we're moving forward into when those thoughts were coming back, because they're kind of always there, right?
Yeah, they never really leave. But that statement earlier, the initial statement you asked me, is injuries have always amplified them. Because then I can't do anything. And then this past year, it's just between, because I'm no John Hack, so I'm not getting paid to do this, I have a regular 9 to 5. So just the life stress, and then having a torn bicep, and I aggravated the SI in my back. So I couldn't even squat. I couldn't bench really past the plate. I couldn't deadlift because of the bicep.
Now at this point, you're in the top 5%, right?
Yeah. Because I totaled 2K for the first time at Ghost Clash 2. And then American Pro 2, I hit 2K. I hit 2017. And then after American Pro 2 was the Rumble one.
Okay.
So that's when I tore my bicep.
So with the clavicle, it really doesn't play into what I'm going to say, because you weren't there yet.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
When you get to this certain point, as you're finding out, it's hard to get stronger. Right.
Yeah.
We can always get stronger. It's different, right? It's a different game. A lot of the game is really, you want to still get a little bit stronger, but man, if you could put all 3 lifts together in one day, that's already like 150 pounds more in your total lift, not more. So if you can just do that, so there's that, the gains are not the same. Right.
Yeah.
But like a torn bicep or jacked up back, it's like this mini purpose, like, oh, this is fucked up. Can I come back from this?
Yeah.
You see it. So that was that the way for you once you got through the psychological bullshit that comes with the injury?
So I was lucky Abs, who hosted the Rumble, they had a physical therapist that, even though he was over in Ireland, I was talking to him every day for the bicep recovery, and he was giving me plans to do. And I then switched to Greeno as well. Michael Greeno was my coach. So he was helping me with rehab for it. And I definitely had the purpose of, like, because at this point I've already squat 826. I knew what I want to do for powerlifting, and I was trying not to let the injuries stop me. But like anything, like same with strength. Strength isn't linear. Your mental health isn't either. Like there's days where I'd be motivated to go in, do the rehab stuff, do the accessories, and then there's days where other life things are just hitting me. And
yeah, but doesn't that happen even if you're not injured?
So to a degree, but it definitely, like when I hit a big lift in training, and not big as in number wise, but like my top set,
Yeah.
or my accessories, and I do them well and I see they're executed well, it gives me a little like, okay, we're one step closer. We're one step closer where you want to be. Because I know, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So in my training, I always look at every session like, this isn't the weight I want it to be, but I'm going to treat it like it is. So that way, once I get to where I want to be, I'm ready.
Yeah, but there's still good and bad days.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
So you're saying if a training day goes bad?
Yeah. So what the only difference that really happens here is when you're coming back from an injury, or when you're injured.
Yeah.
Right. The same emotion is just over amplified.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
but it's the same emotion from having like, man, that squat felt like shit.
Yeah. So when a lift doesn't go my way, I give myself, and I've told this to people I've handled and coached, I give myself that day to be like, okay, this sucked. Like, I'm upset about this, but that doesn't stop your session tomorrow. Doesn't stop your session next week. If you're that upset about it, make everything else count. So next week you can prove that it was just a fluke and that you can be better than that. So I was able to separate like my mental health stuff from like a bad lifting session, because I knew like you take 12 weeks for a prep, at least I do. So many things happen in that 12 weeks, and there's meets where I've had some horrible things happen in the prep, and I still had some of the best meets I've ever had.
That's kind of how it works.
Yeah. And
the best preps end up with the worst meets.
Yeah. We can get into it. Yeah, they do. But so I never take a bad training session and let it beat me down. Like, I'll be upset in the moment. I might be upset for a few hours, or if someone asks me like, oh, how do you feel about that? I fucking hated it. But it was different with an injury, because it's like, I don't have a choice. I can't prove next week that I can hit this number, because I can't even do it right now.
No, but at the same time, there's no bad training sessions.
Yeah.
Because the goal is to get back to the starting gate, get back to where you need to be at 14, 16 weeks out. Right. So the worse the injury, I don't want to say the easier it is to come back, but the more progression you can make that's positive. Yeah. Because it's moving back towards that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. And I definitely have. It's just in the moment for me, like mentally, there's more moments in that recovery from this bicep and SI where I was like, it might be done, or I might be done, or why am I still pursuing this? And it was harder to quiet the noise of that than like on a regular bad training day.
Well, the bigger question there is, why am I still pursuing? Because I might be done. We can, we can find people that have come back from everything multiple times. So that's not even a real conversation.
Yeah, it's not a rational thought.
Not that one's not. But the other one, like, why am I still doing it? That one gets a little bit more in the weeds. Yeah. But real bad time to ask it. Yeah. Like you want to ask that when things are going moderate.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to ask it when it's bad, or even when it's good, because when it's good, you're going to be a little overzealous,
Yeah.
But But yeah, I think that's just a difference for me. Like I just have an easier time shutting off the like mental aspect when I'm doing training sessions when I'm healthy, which I need to be better at it when I'm injured too. Cause I mean, I'm not dumb. This is not going to be my only injury. I plan on doing this for a while, which I do. But it's just, this was the first, like having the 2 injuries, like the SI and then the bicep. It was kind of like, well, I'm getting attacked at all ends here. And like other life things going on. It just was, I was like, where do I find my moment of collecting myself and like quieting everything and being able to just have my, I guess, Zen moment, you know?
Well, that another thing with the injuries that it's just a different perspective is when things are going moderately well or really well, even in the off season, yeah, you dial it back a little bit, but you kind of don't. You know, it's, people can say what they say, but I know what they do. Yeah. Right. It's just the way it is. And so the SI may be screwed up in the bicep. Yeah. Right. But your pec tendon may be trashed. There may be other things that are really, really close to being injured, but didn't manifest. Yeah. But because now you're forced into this 16 week, maybe more recovery type process, it's also allowing all those other underlying things to rest and recover that you didn't know were a problem. Yeah. That will, manifest at a later time. So it's a weird gift, right? Because it allows this longer deload period for everything to kind of come. Because if you look through people that have had, and a biceptomy, keep in mind where I'm coming from, the biceptomy is not like a big deal. Yeah. Like there's way worse things. Yeah. The quad tendon, there's way worse things. Yeah. And so that's not that big of a deal, but that time period may actually prevent the quad tear that may have happened, later down that line, with all that. So it's an opportunity, on how you can redefine it. Granted, it still sucks after it happens. Yeah. Yeah. Anybody that says differently is a liar. Yeah. It still sucks. All those emotions still kind of come through until it clicks in. Then it's like, oh, cool. Now I can rebuild this base of everything. It's maybe I need to learn how to brace better, which is kind of hard to do with top sets. Yeah. Right? Yeah. You got to hope that whatever you've been doing is going to carry over for that top set. I'd tell everyone, like, when they're doing a top set, don't try to think about it. Like you should use your warm-ups and other sessions to really focus on your cues and, bracing, setting the bar properly. And then on your top set day where it's really heavy, you have to trust that your body has that muscle memory, because otherwise you're going to overthink it and fail to lift. So when you're giving advice to other people, how long have you been doing that for and how frequently? I'm just curious. For powerlifting or? Yeah, for powerlifting. People ask all the time. Yeah. Because it's the gym, but I do coaching, but I do like word of mouth because I wasn't big about like, I have 3 more spots. Who wants it? Sure. I think it's a little cliche, but I used to coach my ex, and then I had 2 clients that I would go 2 training sessions with them, because I always believed, like, if I can be in person, I'm going to be there, because that's how you know what's really wrong. That's more at a deeper level. I'm just talking, lifters coming up and asking you questions and stuff like that. Because they're going to ask you, like, about your bicep and what you do for your bench and shit like that. It probably, after the first American Pro, like, people come up to me. So several years. Yeah. Okay. People come up a lot. Has that helped you? Because a lot of what you're talking about from that mental side really gets boiled down into your own self-talk, right? And the more that you're answering these questions for other people would be the same thing that you should be telling yourself. Yes. Right? But we all don't, right? Are you able at this point to catch yourself? Like when you're thinking something that's negative, if it's training or whatever it is, to be able to stop and say, what the hell am I thinking that for? What would I tell a friend of mine who just said that. Are you able to do that at this point?
Yeah, in training sessions I do, and meet day.
What about outside of training sessions?
Like in with
Just life.
Oh, life, yeah.
Because all this transfers to life, man.
It does. No, there's times. It just, for me, it kind of just comes in waves of when I'm able to kind of stop myself and be like, hey, you shouldn't say this to yourself. And then there's times where it just is a little stronger than others, but I have gotten a lot better with it. I'd say in the past couple of years. And then another big thing is I do follow God, so that helps a lot, because then I think not just like what would I tell someone else, but well, God doesn't want me to say this about myself. He doesn't want me to say this about someone else. Why am I saying it about myself? Like it, and I try not to say rude things to people. I try not to put people down. So why am I going to put myself down? So that helps a lot. But there's still moments where it definitely gets tough.
So when the depression hits, because I don't know, emotions are hard to define.
Yeah.
Right? Because everybody has anxiety, everybody has depression, everybody has ADHD. I don't even know what half of these things even mean. Yeah. Right? But so when this is going on, how does it manifest in you? Right? Because depression for me, it's all going to be different.
Yeah.
Right. So you said you can catch yourself sometimes, but other times it's just a little bit harder.
Yeah.
How does that manifest? Like, what is that?
So it will start like with whatever it depends what I'm doing in the situation. So we're just going to take lifting as an example. So if I'm going in the gym, normally I try to have a positive mindset. There might be a time where just my head is like, you're not really going to be able to do this set today. We kind of feel sore. This isn't going to be the one. Why are we even doing this? You're never going to catch up to those top guys. And those negative thoughts just start to roll into like a snowball effect. And then other things will happen where, it could be something as dumb as I get a yellow light and it's like, wow, now I'm going to be even later to the gym. This is holding me back. I have to do this today. And just the negativity just starts to snowball. And then it just gets back into like the little things will lead into that ultimate thought of, why am I even doing this? And not lifting. Why am I even doing life? Like, why am I here? Like, I just live in Delco. I have a normal 9 to 5. You don't really have anything going for you. And then it just gets me into a mode where I don't want to talk to people. I stay in my room. I don't get things done. Like, I'm not doing my meal preps. I'm not doing something basic like cleaning my room or anything along those lines. And it will snowball until I can try to catch it and be like, hey, we can't be talking this way.
So why are you powerlifting?
At this point, I love not just hitting a PR like on a platform, but being on a platform in any way, whether it's me competing or me spotting and loading. I just feel so full. It gives me so much of a like calming feeling, and which is funny because when I lift, I don't look like I'm calm on the platform, but I just feel like there's nowhere else in this world I'm supposed to be. And it's a feeling that is still hard to articulate, where I'm watching myself or other people get through whatever they're going through and like doing what they thought they probably couldn't. Like, I know I never thought I'd squat over 800 or bench over 4 or anything like that, or be on a platform like American Pro or Rumble. So to see other lifters get to step on a platform and know that they are probably going through something similar in some way, shape, or form, it brings so much like joy to me that it reminds me I can't not do this. Like, this is what I feel like I'm called to do. And that's not to be the best, it's just to be like exactly that in the sport, to help and see others do better and hopefully not ever have the thoughts I do or get past them better than I even do now.
Well, nothing that you just said there contained a number.
Yeah.
And that's an important thing, because if you're asking yourself in those times, why do I do this? You should know the answer.
Yeah. Yeah. It's number wise. I mean,
well, forget about the number wise, right? Because when you're in that type of thing, you're like, well, why am I even doing this? The answer is pretty fucking simple. It's because it matters.
Yeah.
You know, to you, it matters, right? Then you no longer have to ask yourself why anymore.
Yeah.
It gets dicey when you start putting numbers on it.
Yeah. And we all have, I mean.
Oh, of course. And that's a goal, right? There's a reason, and then there's the goal.
Yeah. Making that separation was difficult, because there was a time where I was kind of like very on numbers when I first started, because I would like do the crunches and I'd be like, oh, you know, I'm putting on 50 pounds like per meet. Like, if I can keep this up, I can get to this point at this
4,000 pound total.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
extrapolated it far enough.
Yeah. And then I started getting stronger and I realized, oh, weight does not work the same. Once you get to a certain point, you're not putting on numbers like you were before, which I feel like anyone that definitely goes all in, that's definitely a wake up call and can definitely make people decide if they want to do a sport or not. And I think that's why a lot of people don't stay in the sport long, because they have that honeymoon phase where everything's going great.
Yeah.
And then they see how hard it is to really put your total up and they step back.
It's definitely a piece of it. The other piece is, I think they becomes so locked into the number thing, right? And it sucks to say, but it's true. I mean, there's sometimes it may take you 5 years to put 10 pounds on your bench, because over the 5 years, there's going to be an injury. There's going to be bad meets. It doesn't mean your bench isn't stronger. You just weren't able to display it.
Yeah.
But that's the game, right? The game changes when you're at the level that you're at now, because it really kind of does become, you know, whoever, as long as everybody who's competing, right? And you're competing at abs, which is basically total based, right?
Yeah.
You're competing. Everybody's kind of within like 150, maybe 200 pounds, right? From first to 8th or 10th or whatever it is. So what really matters the most is who can show up the least fucked up.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you can show up like as healthy as you can be, because it's never 100%. And if it is 100%, you might not want to enter, because you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the other person's shoulders just jacked to fuck. And, you know, it doesn't matter if they're 200 pounds stronger, because they can't display it and you beat them. Right. So it kind of becomes a game of strength and health.
Yeah.
Or sports longevity, you know, is what that really, it's a different game.
Yeah, you have to, it's not, everyone considers powerlifting, because it's, you know, showing your strength. They consider it like a meathead, like, oh, you're just brute strength, that's all it is. But it really does come down to being smart with your prep and everything outside of it, like your diet, supplements, stuff like that, to make sure you're as healthy as possible on meet day, and that everything can taper properly for your performance to give you the best possible outcome.
When did you start to realize that?
I would say probably the first American Pro, because that was like a head-to-head battle that I didn't even know about until I was there with this guy, Zach Smith, Zeus. And I won by, I think I pulled for the win with 744. And he dropped his third, and I got the win because I was just, everything worked out. I performed on the day. I had an 8 for 9 day, and one of my best performances. And it was enough to beat him, even though in training, he definitely pulls way more than me, benches more. So that was kind of a start of like, it's not just about how strong you are, it's how you execute everything. So that was definitely when that started.
Did that change the way that you approached your training?
Yeah, that's when I stopped worrying about the numbers as much, and it was more about the execution. I cared more about doing back downs and accessories, because it was like, if he's doing all his accessories and back downs, he's going to be better next time I see him on the platform, or anyone will be. And so, like, I want to try to be the best that I can. So at least I know there's no doubt that I gave it everything I had.
Hey guys, if you're enjoying what you're watching, make sure to take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe. Is Greeno's coaching you now?
No, Greeno started coaching me after the first Rumble.
Yes.
So I was still with my old coach, John, at the time. He coached me for the first Rumble. But after that, he's not like involved in the sport, and he just had a second kid at the time. And I'm a selfish lifter in the moment, where like at meet day, it's about me. If I sign up for a meet, my coach is getting blown up with texts at 2 a.m. because I'm just a mental case. And I didn't want to put that on him. I didn't want to make him travel for meets, because I'm not going to compete in PA, because there's no untested powerlifting in PA. So I had a conversation with him. I said, hey, like, I'm going to explore a new coach, because, like, as much as he became one of my best friends, but I was like, as much as I enjoy being coached by you and you do great, you can't give me everything I need. And he understood. And I reached out to Greeno, because I'm in the 140s, and Greeno seems to have a magic touch with anyone that's 140 to get them to be top guys.
Yeah, so you're with him now.
Yeah.
All right, so if you're in prep and then you have a number that you have to hit, and we'll use squat. Squat's probably maybe the bench is for you because of this, but we'll use a squat. And you're working up to that top weight, and you know it's not there. Do you, at this point in your career, do you still force it, or do you back it off just a little bit?
I usually, so when I'm working up to a top set, whatever my planned warm-ups are, because at this point I have numbers that I normally take, like jumps in between.
Yeah.
So I know what my jumps are for the most part, like kilo range. So if I'm supposed to do 705, say, on squat, if 606 does not move how I know it should move, then I will usually, whatever my last warm-up is, make that my top set and just cut it.
Okay.
And then if, just to continue really quick, if I'm feeling really bad into the session, then I do the same with 4 reds. So I'll take 4 reds, record it, see how it moves. And if it moves any slower than I know, at this point in my career, I've taken 4 reds so many times. If it moves any slower, then I'll reach out to Greeno. If he doesn't answer, then I'll just make an audible and probably make 606 my top set, depending, or maybe 620, depending on how everything moves. But I'm definitely calling audibles.
All right. So then what happens on the days that everything feels amazing?
I don't go past what it says.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That right there is what every top lifter needs to strive to be able to do, because it's really more a game about sticking to the plan and learning how to pull back.
Yeah.
Whereas you probably learned this from experience, you can force it. You certainly can force it, but usually what's going to happen is some little nagging injury is going to start, or it could be the next training day. It could be the bench that happens a couple of days later, or the next squat is going to end up taking a hit.
Yeah.
It's like this orchestra that you're trying to balance. Like, is this worth? Because maybe sometimes it is.
Yeah.
Right. It's rare, but maybe you have one of those incredible fucking days, and it's just like, what the fuck, you know? But you still got to process, if this doesn't go well, is it worth fucking my bench up, fucking my deadlift up, or fucking next week up?
Exactly.
And you might be on some super fucking drug that hasn't been invented yet, right? And all of a sudden it's more, because that's the weird thing, right? Because the strength isn't as linear as people think. It's like here, then, here, and we all wish it was 5 pounds per week.
Oh, love it. I would finally bench 5, you know?
Yeah.
But no, I think to add on to how you said, you know, sometimes there might be a time to do that. To me, that only time would be if you're not in prep. If you're in prep, you do not go over what your coach is telling you to do. There's no reason for it. It's just, if you want to do good on the day, you have to listen to your body and not try to push in prep to where it can hurt you in the long run.
Yeah. Well, not only that, if you just blow your top set in a good way, the confidence that leads into that next training session is through the roof.
Yeah.
It's like, man, last week was a joke. I could have done 7 with what I tripled.
Yeah.
Right. Doesn't mean you take the next week for granted. But so how do you go about explaining that to a lifter that's almost there, but not? They think they have to do that.
So if they have a meet plan?
Yes. I mean, if it's a friend of yours that you know that's coming up through the ranks, right? Yeah. And because we all go through that phase.
Yeah.
Like they're through that phase and you're trying to explain to them, look, you know, sometimes you just need to back it down. It's a fucked up conversation because they're like, no, I don't want to be a puss. You know, how do you go about explaining that to them?
To me, like we explaining that, it comes down to, what are you trying to accomplish more? Are you trying to accomplish a big lift in the gym for your morale and for the people around you that probably aren't even watching? Or are you trying to build for the best version of yourself on a platform where you're going to have friends and family there, where you're going to try to rank, you know, podium, whatever it is, and that's going to appear on a lifting database to show to anyone that gets into it where you stand? To me, and their answer should always be, they want to perform in front of their friends, their family. They want their performance to be, you know, put into the database to show that they were the strongest they could be that day, opposed to just lifting in the gym in front of a few people. So that's usually what I say, to just remind them, like, you're not competing to have big numbers in your prep. You're in prep to make sure you have a big number on your competition day.
All right, with your own training, because you mentioned the back down sets, and you also kind of indirectly mentioned that, you know, as the meet gets closer, you're mentally going to be prepared, you know, for whatever those top sets are. When it comes to filming the lifts, right? Are you filming the warm-ups as well as the top set?
I film. They still talk about squats in this.
Yeah, just squats.
4 reds I film, and then everything else.
Now, are you reviewing the 4 reds before you move up?
Yeah, so my protocol is I perform the lift, record it. I'm watching it immediately before I'm saying anything, before putting anything on the bar. Looking to see how it moved to my standards, seeing if my form broke down or anything. And comparing it also to how I feel, because that is a big factor too. You have to be confident. And I'm sending it to Greeno as well. And then he's a busy guy, so depending on, most of the time he answers right away, but sometimes I just have to go off of it. And I'll just go from there for every 4 red, 5 red, and then so on, doing the same thing depending on what my warm-up or top set is.
With your squat, where will your form break down?
My form starts to break down usually if we're just talking like a 1 rep day, it breaks down around.
Well, actually, you're going to see it before, right? Because if you're filming it at 4 plates, you know, to make sure.
I'll start to see a little breakdown of it at like 650 to 661, depending on how I am. Right now, I hit 8 at the Rumble 2, but we're still trying to build back that like strength, you know, that constant strength of being able to just hit 6, 7 every week that we can to get that. Because I used to be able to, I was doing 727 for a set of 4 on squat. So we're getting back to where that weight on my CNS is just like how it used to be. But 650, 660, if I'm not completely dialed in, I'll see a little form breakdown.
And what's that look like?
Either chest will come down a little bit or my hips might shoot up a little too quick because I am a dive bomb squatter. So sometimes they shoot up and then chest goes forward a bit. Most of the time, every time so far, I recover fine. It's just how fast do I recover?
Now, when that happens, how often is that attributed to your setup before you start?
Setup, I would say, well, it ties in. I would say it's more from the pick, but obviously the setup depends on the pick. For me, my setup is only different on like my last warm up and my top sets. So the carryover for like warm up sets, I always have to just think about the pick and make sure I'm as strong as possible taking it out of the rack. Because my setup for like my last warm up and top sets is always different. So I kind of have to separate the two and just focus on the pick and making sure I'm strong out of hole.
How's it different?
So if it's a really heavy set, I have people hold the side of the bar and I slam my traps against the bar before like I find my position and then pick it.
Why?
It's like a mental thing for me. It kind of like similar to a back slap, you know. It's me doing that and just gets me dialed in and gets that like fight or flight for me. Like, you're lifting this fucking weight.
Are you still conscious enough to know that if it's in the wrong fucking spot to be able to shift it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I still shift.
Okay.
Because I know where I should feel it when I hit it, and that tells me, okay, like it's in that point in my back, I have the good position. Now I just need to make sure the pick is good, and then everything will be golden.
So the heavier ones, it's just more aggressive.
Yeah.
All right, but you still are making sure it's in the right freaking spot.
Oh, yeah. I won't lift it off, especially if it's like a heavy set, unless I know it's in the right spot. Like, I'll come out and hit my traps against it again to make sure I'm in the right spot. But,
all right. Well, the reason I ask, and it's be interested if you have the same opinion, I can usually tell if somebody's going to make or miss a weight before they even go down.
Yeah.
You know, just because the setup isn't right.
Yeah.
I mean, that can be one issue. The other issue is they haven't let the bar settle.
Yeah.
You know, and you play around with, because of the federations you're in, sometimes it's a squat bar, sometimes it's not.
Mm-hmm.
You know, 800 on a squat bar is completely different than 800. 700 on a squat bar is different than 700 on a power bar.
Yeah.
You know,
Power bars are not forgiving.
Yeah. But where what you do there can really work against you.
Yeah.
If you don't let that bar settle.
Yeah.
Right. So you've seen the same thing that
yeah.
most people are missing because they're just not set.
Yeah.
Before they go down.
Yeah. They definitely, as intense of a setup as I have, like with the aggression, there still is a difference when someone is having a purpose behind it, opposed to it's just out of nerves, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people they might have an extreme setup or something where they're a little violent, but you can see it's not violence out of confidence. It's violence out of being afraid.
With that aggression side, I was kind of the same way. And Louis would tell me, you're a different person.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I turned into like zippy. Right. So it became into this. I realized I could only play like 3, maybe 4 zippy cards in one day
mm-hmm.
or one meet. And I had to be really strategic because it takes more out of you.
Yeah. When
you're at that, your nervous system, everything else, it's just at a different fucking level. That's why you don't do your warm-ups and everything else that way.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's first, second, and third attempts, what's that level of arousal for your opener?
Opener will have a little intensity. Like, it's just like a light slam.
Yeah.
Second, a little more. And then third, it's balls to the wall.
All right. So you're getting like maybe...
I'm getting warmed up.
Yeah. Maybe 4 times during the meet
mm-hmm.
to where you have to get... Because your first bench, you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Maybe... Shit, you might not have to do it all on your... Maybe 1 bench.
Yeah. Bench, so this meet I did because coming back from the torn bicep, like, I was a little more intense on My second and third. Bench I do, so in a competition, and looking at it from, a coaching perspective, I am dumping so much adrenaline. And I know big lifters say it all the time, that definitely hinders performance to an extent. To me, I am able to just have that adrenaline dump and just shut it on and off. So I will have it on for squats. After squats, I can talk to anyone, have a conversation, I'm fine. And then once bench warm-ups start, it's turned back on, the music's on, and that intensity is there. I'm a very violent lifter on the platform, in the warm-up room, not talking to people. For bench, I usually I hit myself beforehand, and I whip myself with my belt, and it's all stuff that definitely is wasting,
Sure.
wasting potential. But for me, it doesn't get shut off, and it just gives me that that intensity where it's you are completely not who you used to be. Old you would have crumbled at any of this, and you're putting yourself through this. You're going to lift this fucking weight. There's no stopping you. Hit yourself, do whatever you have to do. Show yourself that this weight is not going to stop you. It's not going to fall on you. You're not going to be defeated by it. And it just, after the meet, I'm cooked.
Yeah.
But
I wouldn't say for you it's wasting potential, because it's raising the potential so much higher.
Yeah.
That, after it's I guess I was kind of the same way. After, you're just fucked. Yeah, everybody else wants to go out, and you're just fucked. And it's just kind of the way it is. But if there's a way to be able to take that and internalize it, or make it less, right? So if it's, the bench, you're saying you're slapping yourself with the belt. If that starts 90 seconds out,
yeah,
right? If there's a way to trim that down to 30,
yeah,
right, and then 15, then, because a lot of that is not
yeah,
who gives a fuck 90 seconds out? What matters is where your mind is when you grab the bar.
yeah,
So the game is to be able to trim that as much as you possibly can, so you have more on that deadlift that's really going to matter. But the deadlift's a fucked up one, because you get too aroused on that one. Now you're how do you manage that one? Because that was a fucked up one for me, to where I had to get to a point where it's I had to just tell myself, this is the stupid last thing we have to do before I can eat.
Yeah.
I had to just be so calm, because everything would be so fucking tight and rigid. I couldn't get in the position I needed to be in.
Yeah. So deadlift, it's also with the whipping with the belt, but that's on second and thirds. Try to make it on thirds, but deadlift, it's the one I overthink the most. Squat and bench, I can get under the bar and not think about it. So deadlift, it's the one where I kind of, going into warm-ups, I tell myself, okay, in a sense, you have 3 more lifts, but that's more of, you have 3 more lifts, you have to bring that anger, because this is your hardest lift. You have to attack this with no overthinking. You can't get in your head about this. Whatever's on that bar, pick it up and don't stop until you either drop it or you get the lift, the down command. So that's how I try to go about with deadlifts, because it's just, in prep, my deadlift is always horrible. When I pulled 744 at the American Pro 1, I pulled, and not for a passable lift, but I pulled 723 or 727 in prep, and it was not the best compared to the 744. And then after that, it's just my best. I always pull, except for the coming back from the bicep and tearing the bicep, I usually pull more on the meat than in my prep. When squats, it used to be that way. Now squats, it's about the same, maybe a little more, depending on how we taper. And then bench, that's the one I've hit a plateau. I was hitting 463 consistently. I just finally hit 480 at rumble too, but deadlifts, it's always usually way more than I'm pulling in prep.
How often have you made all 3 deadlifts?
I think I've done it in maybe 3 meets, 2 or 3 meets. I dropped American Pro 2, I dropped Ghost Clash, I dropped Rumble, tore the bicep I didn't drop the opener. I tore the bicep and I held on to that lift. I did not bomb out again. But yeah, so I'd say 3 of the meets where I held on to all 3.
All right, so it's grip.
Yeah.
Is what you have the problem.
Yeah, it's grip.
Yeah.
Which I try to be better at. I got to ice my hands because, once you throw in the untested aspect,
Mm-hmm.
hands are going to swell up a bit once you're towards the end. So,
have you added anything in for your grip training wise?
we haven't yet.
Well, I was going to say anything that helped, because a lot of people will put stuff in, but I don't think it does shit.
Yeah, we haven't done anything yet because this is going to be, so my next one is already planned. It's in May, May 30th in Virginia Beach. And I'm sure Greeno will add stuff in once we start, like an actual prep. But this is the first meet where I'm healthy with him because Rumble 1 to Rumble 2 was our first meet together. And it was kind of half of it was rehab and, getting healthy. So now that I am good, we'll see what he does as far as like with helping with grip strength.
So what's your training look like now? Because you're 5 months out.
So we're doing a lot of like specialty, and so squats, our back downs have been either Duffalo bar or chains because Greeno loves his chains. And bench, we do a secondary.
Wait, so this would suck. So you're working up with the regular bar,
and then
you got to take the shit off and then put it back on a Duffalo bar?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd tell him to fuck off immediately.
Do I hate it? Yes, but
Yeah.
I'm also I know what I want to do. Like,
Well, I get what he's doing. It's just that
Yeah.
sucks.
it does, but I think he also knows like if he puts it on there, unless I can't physically do it, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Bench, our secondary day is right now it's floor presses, but we were doing like Spotto before that, and then deadlifts we work with bands. We took the bands out for a little bit. Right now we're just doing Paul's deadlifts and then regular deadlifts and dimmels, and I hate dimmels, but I do them.
You high volume.
Yeah, like 3 or 4 sets of 15, which is 275, and that's at the end of all the deadlifts I do, and it just.
Do you? For those that don't know, a Dimmel deadlift is basically like a half a deadlift from your knee up. Just trying to time. The hip and shoulder. Do you do them ballistically? So on the way down, do you drop, catch, and then pull, or is it just
just stop at the knee and up?
Yeah,
just as fast as I can.
They suck either way.
Yeah, I do not enjoy them. I flip off Greeno at the end of every video when I record them because I don't like doing them at all.
Yes, when Matt Dimmel first did those, I can't remember what his deadlift was at the time, but he did, let's say 740, so somewhere in that 750, somewhere around that range. And it was 315 that he would use, which compared to his strength on the squat, it was 1,000-pound squat. It wasn't a lot. And it was 315 3 or 4 times a week, for 3 sets of the 15. Yeah. And then the next meet that he went, he pulled over 8. I mean, it was just like whatever was in there.
Yeah.
If it was the timing or if it was just the endurance to be able to, the strength endurance, whatever the hell it was, it had that correspondence to be able to have that big carryover. So of course we all start, trying to do that shit.
Monkey see, monkey do.
Maybe it was just the conditioning.
Yeah.
I'm saying, because to get through a whole meet, that's another question I have for you. But to get through a whole meet, it's rough.
Yeah.
Right. And with the ABS, that's quick.
Yeah. Very fast.
So does that play to your advantage or does it work against you?
I don't have an issue with it. I train fast for my like compounds, like my squat, because I wear the new knee sleeves, Gen 3. So
200-pound carryover, right?
Yeah. getting those on, I'm limited on time because I gotta get them off because they're cutting off circulation. So I'm in and out. So when I'm squatting, normal warm up, like maybe 10, 15 minutes with doing the bar, 1 rep, stuff like that.
I wasn't putting the sleeves on kind of a warm up in itself.
I don't put them on until after 4 reps.
So you got to take your fucking shoes off and put them back on again.
No. I got this down to a science. I slide them over.
I got it. Yep.
But so once I hit 4 reds and put the sleeves on, have the 5 or whatever I'm doing next loaded, it's maybe like 5 minutes in between each set. And I'm just ready to go until I'm done. That's back downs too. Like back downs will take even less time, maybe 2 minutes if that. Just the only time I'm taking is usually loading the next thing because I just want to be done with it and take sleeves off. So for me, I feel like with ABS, their meets with how they run, and like with even the meets that I've done spotting, because we run fast meets too, it comes down to if you can make it through the squat and not be gassed, then you'll be fine. Because benches, and unless you're benching 600-700 pounds, it probably won't take that much out of you for deads, and you'll be fine for deadlifts because it's the last 3. So because I'm so conditioned on squats, I don't have an issue with ABS meets. I'm relatively, once I do my top, like when I did my 3rd attempt at this last one, I just needed like 2 minutes to use the bathroom after putting all that weight on my back, and then I was ready to go warm up for bench. And
well, isn't that just about the time that you have?
Yeah. Well, no, at this one, no, because, we had I squatted 8, but we had people pushing past 9. So I had a couple more minutes this time. But, but yeah, it's just in and out, and bench, I'm ready, and deadlifts, it's like I said, last 3, I'm ready to go.
With the spotting, because you have this spotting crew that travels around and kind of helps out, how did that come to be?
So I started spotting loading for a USAPL meet director in Philly. His name's Chris. I have a gym called Warhorse. And it started off as like, so my coach at the time, John, did their first unsanctioned meet. And I handled them. I met Chris, chatted it up. And then they hosted their first meet, and then they were going to host a meet in February called Raging Romantics. They're like, hey, we're having like some big lifters. Like, I know you're strong. Can you spot this? So I was like, yeah. So I went and spotted with his people, or just people that he hired. And not to...
No, I'll say it, because a lot of times people will, when I was competing, a lot of meet directors would just like recruit football players.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that they've ever spotted before in their life.
And
nothing against them.
Yeah. Look, they did the best they could.
Yeah.
But because none of us had that good experience, I ended up getting my hand smashed with 500 pounds in the J hook for squat because he failed. We had to put him in. He had him tilted in because he had a wide grip. And my hand got like smashed against the bar and the weight. And after that, I finished spotting the meet because I wasn't going to leave the lifters. But I was really pissed. And next time he hit me up, I'm like, hey, like I'll come back to spot, but let me gather a crew. And I pulled people together that I knew spotted me before, that I trusted. And then one thing led to the other where we did really well. He's like, hey, can you spot every meet we host? Because they host like anywhere like 4 to 8 meets a year. I was like, yeah, sure. And then it just started snowball effect of people became regulars for spotting and loading. And then we did USAPL PA states. We did their primetime meet like past 3 years that they've been doing it. And then Powerlifting United reached out and we did their nationals this past year. And then it just has been a snowball effect that now I have like, I'd say 15 people on rotation. I can reach out and be like, hey, are you available these dates? And
how did your perception of the sport change with you not lifting on that day? I'm spotting.
I realized that the meet is if you want a good meet, it's the spotters. There's no one else. Not to take away what the refs do, the meet director, not take away how much work the lifters put in. The spotters and loaders, if you have a crew that knows what they're doing, you're going to have a meet that seems like an ABS meet. You're going to have a meet that seems like an American Pro, like a professional meet, because the spotters are just going to be so efficient and protective that every lifter is going to feel safe. And when a lifter feels safe, they feel more confident, and you might see them hit things that they might have been like, if it's there, I'll take it. But when they know they have a crew behind them that is going to keep them safe and be in their ear, because that's the one thing we do too. If we're spotting, I'm in your ear behind you. I'm telling you, this is you're here for this.
Yeah. Show
them why you're here. Show them all your hard work is going to pay off today. And I just get in the ear and chirp in their ear to give them that extra, like, all right, I got someone behind me. It's like I'm back in my gym and my buddy's behind me. He's telling me I got it. This guy's telling me I got it. I know I got it.
What are things that you've seen? Because when you go to a meet and you're in meet mode, as a lifter, I mean, as you said, you're selfish, everything is just, you're just focused.
Tunnel vision.
You're not seeing anything, right? You're just seeing what you have ahead of you. That's it. Maybe asking somebody for a fucking banana, but when you're a spotter, you're seeing
everything.
Like what were some of the things that stood out when you were a spotter that you didn't notice before?
I would have to say probably how much work goes into running a meet. Like, even though I'm just on the platform spotting, because it is a local fed, well, not fed, but a local meet director, seeing everything that goes into making sure, like, you have proper amount of refs, having the gym set up, having someone to work the table for lifting cast. It definitely gave me an eye-opening of, well, shit, this isn't just people coming together. Like, this is a well-organized machine. And then with the lifters, it definitely shows me, like, everyone's there for a reason. Like, before, like, you try to make yourself the main character.
Yeah.
You're like, this is my meet. It's like, no, it's not your meet, but you're a part of it. Make the most of it. And seeing all these lifters and, their family and friends come out, it gives me a new perspective of the sport, because it's like, it's not a team sport, but like, when you have people supporting you, it's a great feeling when you can show, I don't want to say show them that you're worth that praise from them, but you can show them that, like, you came out to see me do this and I did this. Like, I proved that I could do this. Like, I'm proud of myself, and I know you're proud of me, so that makes me feel that much better of my performance, type of thing.
Mm-hmm. That's a big attribute that I see with lifters who get to the level that you're at. Is the sport's different, right? You have the local level and all the other kind of stuff, and then you get to this other level, everybody's good.
Yeah.
Right. And everything's well run, and obviously it's a different level, but it's also, you can lose sight of why you started in the first place.
Yeah.
And you lose sight of, if you look at open powerlifting, maybe 5-10% deep, maybe that's probably being generous, are the number of lifters that can qualify to lift in the meets that you're in.
Yeah.
Which means that there's 95% of all those other lifters that is powerlifting, right?
Yeah.
You get to this upper echelon and you think you're powerlifting, but you're not. You're the fraction. And once you forget what all those other 95% are training for, just to see if they can do what they say they're going to do.
Yeah.
To enter something and actually train for it and complete it. Or, the person that pulls 3 reds, after beating cancer,
Yeah.
These are all the same PRs, the feeling of PRs
Yeah.
that you get, right? But at a certain point, you're like, it's fucking it's 3:30, whatever. It gets blown under the rug until you can go into a not in meat mode and see it.
Yeah.
And then you see that weight lifted, which, no, it's not a huge weight, but to them,
it's the PR.
It's a
their best
fucking PR, man. And to their girlfriend or family or whoever does show up for them, sometimes they're just as excited about it as they are.
Yeah.
Which is crazy too. And then that brings that love of the sport back, which makes it easier to digest all the drama bullshit that isn't even really drama bullshit when you really think about it. But at that level, sometimes that becomes too much of the focus.
Yeah.
And not that, right? Because that's what supports that top part.
Yeah.
And it's,
we like, and I say we loosely because I don't even consider myself like one of the top 5, 10. I just have opportunities presented to me, and
you're strong enough to qualify.
Yeah.
That's the point.
But like, people that do these big meets, we are nothing without those local meets, because it all starts somewhere. Any meet director that's hosting these big meets, they started with a local meet. They started seeing the same thing that I see every meet that I spot and load at. And no matter who you are, everyone started at a local meet and got that same itch. They got that love from seeing their numbers move up, or if they had friends competing with them, seeing them perform well. So being on a platform where I'm not competing, it definitely does like just remind me of how much I love it, and it gives me that spark of like, this is it. Like, this is what my life has been, and I wouldn't change any of it for the world.
Well, a PR is an interesting thing because I'm old school, man. So I think those 2 letters have been so diluted with most people that it doesn't mean anything. Because you go to the gym, everything's a fucking PR, right?
Yeah.
Look at people's social media posts, everything's a fucking
5 pounds lighter PR.
Yeah, you've had 865 PRs this year. Fucking good for you, whatever, right? But at the end of the day, if you take all that away, a PR is a feeling.
Yeah.
Right. So out of those 865 PRs that they had, I bet there's 1 or 2 that they're like,
meant the most.
Yeah. I got that motherfucker. That's the PR, right? That's a feeling. And that doesn't matter if it's, 225, 900, you share that same feeling.
Yep.
So when you hit that PR, right, it's the same as those other people. Or when you make that one lift, it may not even be your best lift, but you made that one lift that you had to make.
Yeah.
That's the same feeling that they have. That's what's shared. And I think that's what gets forgotten because of the numbers and the dilution of the PRs and all the other kind of stuff. And I think it would do, maybe not the spotting and the loading, because that kind of sucks. But anyhow, if you got a crew, it's different.
Yeah.
Like if you just go volunteer, you might have 2 knuckleheads.
Yeah, when you have a bunch of people that don't know what they're doing, it definitely makes it hard. But like, ultimately, spotting loading is just communication. Like, I'm calling out every next attempt as the lifter is stepping up platform or stepping off, and all my spotters are always communicating with each other. Like the side spotters, hey, I'm going to take this off. You grab the change, load it. I'll do the collar, I'll get the rack height, stuff like that. And the rack height people work at the same time together too. So if you can communicate, like even if you have people that have maybe never spotted or spotted once, if you have one person knows what they're doing, it'll run a lot smoother than a normal meet with people that don't know what they're doing at all.
How do you handle because I mentioned the social media, how do you handle the social media drama that comes with it while you're still trying to handle your own self-talk? You say, so you already have one task that you're trying to always handle, and then here's this other thing. Yeah.
I think, so like pulling that curtain back, because there's drama in powerlifting, of course.
Sure.
But doing the spotting loading at small meets where it's a lot of people's first meets helps, like remind me, Not everyone knows what's behind the curtain. Not everyone cares what's behind the curtain. People don't care. People have made lifting their whole life, and I am one of those people. But as far as the drama and stuff in powerlifting, I try to stay out of drama the best I can. But like the drama itself, like with the federation changes and with depth calls or if a lift was good or not, I just make light of it all. I make joke of it all. Some of the jokes might come off a little harsh, but I'm never trying to attack someone's character. It's just, I'm trying to remind everyone, hey, like this is a niche sport that we all love and we're all very opinionated on. So let's just treat it like that and not think that what we say is law. You know, if someone got a good lift in a meet that might have been high, does that suck? Yes. Does that really truly bring the sport back? And you can't really tell. We can't read the future. Depends how other meets go moving forward. But bad calls happen. There's going to be drama with different feds. USPA to WRPF to PLU. It's not the first time federation changes have happened. You know that with all the fed changes. It's just now because of social media, it gets amplified. People were like, this is the end of the world. What's going to happen? What fed are we going to compete in? Why did this happen? And I try to just take all the drama and just make it a joke.
Well, the interesting thing, a couple interesting things is with the federations, when the federation drama, I mean, there's always been some, right? But there was only a handful of federations 35 years ago. The more that talk happened, the more people started talking about there's too many federations, the more federations got made. Where there's more federations today.
Their fed was going to be the one that would stop the other.
Yeah, there's far more today. I don't even know if we could count them. There's far more today than there was 40 years ago or 30 years ago. But the answer is more, which is fucking retarded to me. It's like if a federation has a problem, why not just fix the problem within that federation and make it better instead of branching off and making another one and then branching off and making another one?
Because then you have to hold people to accountability with what's wrong in that fed. And no fed wants to admit what's wrong.
Yeah.
They never want to make changes. One fed would be perfect, but let's be honest, the IPF will never do that. They'll never acknowledge any other federation or untested alone.
I mean, before that, it was the AAU, and there was just one.
Yeah.
Right. And then, it grows from there.
But even with the untested feds, like having all these different federations, it hurts the lifters in the long run, because then, to me, like how you said, PRs mean nothing. There's so many. To me, records mean nothing anymore because there's just so many. Like, best example, we'll go test it again. Jesus Oliveras has the IPF squat world record, but Ray Williams squat 10, I think it was 1080 USAPL meet that still was under IPF affiliation, but it doesn't count as a world record squat because it wasn't at a world record meet, but it's still in their database. But Jesus gets the world record. It just, records mean nothing except for it's a piece of paper and something that these lifters can use to sell more coaching to me. That's all they've come to. And with open powerlifting, whoever's on top, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah. And that's what there's good and bad of social media, but one of the good things is being involved in this sport in one capacity or the other since the 80s is, I don't think the federations even matter, right? The IPF people, they're going to have their opinion and probably bitch about what I just said, but they don't, because at the end of the day, and now you guys can all communicate with each other. So you know where the best are going to go, right? And then that's where they're all going to go. And for the most part, it's usually always the best that are there.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple outliers, but they're hurt.
Yeah.
Right. They're not there because they don't want to be there. Maybe they can't afford to be there. There's other variables, but taking those variables away, they would be there.
Yep.
The only way that happens is you guys are able to DM each other and, stay in contact and know kind of where everybody else is going.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. Like if ABS goes away. Fuck it. You're all going to find another one and you're all going to go to that one. Where you go back before social media, that wasn't the case. You know, you'd show up at whatever nationals or whatever it was that you thought everybody was going to be there, only to find out, fuck, they all went over here.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, shit.
So I actually think ABS becoming more known in the States is going to cause a little bit of a split again. And that is because I think a lot of the top lifters are afraid to do more than just lift. ABS is big into like doing press conferences, stuff like that. And they want shit talking because it gets people involved. There's a lot of lifters that don't want to do that for whatever reason. And if you want to shit talk someone, I get it, but you can still be confident in yourself.
Sure.
But like to not want to do anything to make the sport, because I think ABS is trying to make the sport grow. And I think that does help the sport grow by being more of a sports entertainment aspect than just doing 9 lifts total on a platform. Because it can be boring if you're not involved in the sport. You get sports entertainment to where people are more like talking shit to each other, how me and Zeus do, always making fun of each other leading up to a meet. It gets people to want to watch. They don't care that it's just on a platform with a barbell. They're like, I want to see who's going to win this little shit talk right here. I think there's a lot of lifters at the top that'd rather just do the best they can for themselves and not really care about helping the sport grow, which their prerogative, that's fine. But I think the ABS is going to be a split of top lifters sticking with, I don't want to say PLU, but any untested fed where they can just go lift. And then there's going to be the lifters that go to ABS because they want to compete with the best that go there, but they want to help the sport grow to be more than just a niche, you know, competition at a gym where you're just doing 3 lifts total.
When I hear that, right, it's what a lot of people don't understand is 2012, 2015, whenever Raw became not the part of the sport everybody joked about, right? So there was Raw, but then there was single ply, then multiply, and that was pretty much powerlifting. My timeline could be off on where that really, because when it first started happening, it was like, fuck these guys, you know, it was like the outcast of the whole thing. But then that started to build that momentum. And when that momentum built, the sport, if we just go from USA, right? The sport goes from maybe 15, 20,000 total lifters to 100,000, 120,000. It's grown by 400%. You know, so everybody's like, the sport needs to grow, the sport needs to grow. And I'm like, motherfuckers, it's grown by 400% in less than a decade. You know, any company or any other sport that grows at that rate is doing a lot of things right. So why not just focus on what do you think is being done right and then lean into that? And there's been a little bit of a downfall because we're losing that, like the COVID gain, right? But whatever, it's still 300, 400% higher than what it was before. And it's like, motherfucker, you're like, you don't get the, like, powerlifting, and that's just the competitors. Right? If we look outside of the competitors, like when I was growing up, we used to have, you know, people that would bodybuild in the gym. We call them closet bodybuilders because they're never going to compete, right? There was never such a thing as a closet powerlifter. You know, people that train the power lifts but have no aspirations to compete. There's like probably, if I was to guess, 1 million of those. Right? So now if we go from 20, 30,000 to what kind of growth are they looking? You get what I'm saying? You know, it's, I understand it, right? But sometimes I think there needs to be a little bit of a pause to be able to think, wow, man, look at what has happened. You know, this is a sport right now in the U.S. Maybe half the people you speak to that don't know shit about anything, they know what powerlifting is now. They don't think that you're throwing a weight over your head.
So it's definitely known more now and that's because of social media. But when I say like it needs to change in the aspect of sports entertainment, is because while yes, you're correct, there are a lot more people doing the sport, the turnout of people in the crowd is still very small. So therefore, there's not always a huge turnaround for the meet director to put more money into it. So we do need more people involved, as in a fan base. And it is hard to get people invested in wanting to watch lifting and not pursue it. And yeah, you had people that go to the gym that train
it's a
it.
problem.
But I do think like doing more in the aspect of like entertaining people online and get people invested in your character and who you are can get people in seats.
Yeah. I mean, it's shortening the meet will help.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's huge.
I mean, it's take track and field, you know, that's a whole day thing.
Yeah.
You know, very rarely are stadiums being Olympics.
Yeah.
I mean, very rarely, but it does happen. Our stadiums being full, you know, for track and field things. Right.
Yeah.
So it's shortening would help. One of the other things that would help is post editing. You know, like live streaming's great, but what if you actually, like Strongman became popular because it was on TV. Mm-hmm. You think those events really took 45 minutes? No. You know, it's a 3-day thing, right? Nobody wants to go watch a 3-day thing, but they'll watch the edited version, you know, to be able to put out there. Yeah. You know, so, but all that doesn't really, I don't want to say that because it kind of does. You can't, as a lifter, you can't spend too much time focused on that because your time as a lifter is limited. Yeah. You know, you only have a decade or 15 years or whatever it is, and you got to put up the biggest numbers you can put up. Yeah. You know, so it's so yes, I agree, but also, and I'm going to use this comparison only because it's sports entertainment, and I'm saying, and pro wrestling is sports entertainment. Mm-hmm. They wrestle, 200 to 300 times a year, and they're still doing all their promos, and they're doing all these. Oh, I like the promos. I think that's a good idea. Like, we should be utilizing like that idea more to where, you know, these, and it's going to, I don't know if it's going to have to fall to where the lifters do it themselves or the meet directors do it and bring people in, but there has to be some aspect of building a storyline behind your lifters that are competing, and that's going to hold the lifters accountable too, because they have to show up. They can't back out of meets like a lot of big lifters do. For whatever reason, they back out. But if you can get lifters to actually start promoting meets in a way that's going to get people entertained and want to, you know, maybe go see that competition that might be an hour or 2-hour drive and go in person, it's going to put more money into the sport to help it grow to where lifters can maybe one day actually get paid. Like, I won't see it in my generation, I know that. But the next generation after that can actually do this to where money can be funneled in from an actual crowd and not just sponsors, because then the sponsors pay for it, and it's got to be divvied out to your top 3, well, top 6, because men and women. You got to pay your refs, your spotters, your live stream. You got to pay for lifting cast. So by the end of it, meet director doesn't have enough money to invest into a bigger meet. And the only way you can get more money is from building a crowd. Because I don't think it's right to charge for a live stream. Like, I get it to an extent because it's pay-per-view, but I don't think that's where the money is going to come that's going to make a difference. No, it's people. Yeah, it's the people. Look at Sheffield. Sheffield sold out a like art venue, like a theater thing, and now they're having, I think they're going on their 3rd one this year. It's because they actually are putting asses in seats with fans coming to see this, and they're being interactive. If the first Sheffield, I will dog on IPF all day. I don't like how they run most things, but Sheffield was done right in the way. The first one that didn't even take place before COVID, their whole YouTube was a YouTube series where they went to these lifters' houses, interviewed them,
asked them their purpose, asked them why they were doing this, got involved, followed them for a training session, and it got people really into it. And people wanted to see the best of the best perform. They got behind these lifters because of the story they were telling. And Sheffield took off, and now it's like this thing that all the best tested are going to IPF, even through the Article 14 nonsense and other things that they've had allegations of, because that's where the best are going. And you actually are putting asses in seats because people are involved in getting behind the stories that you're telling of the lifters.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's kind of like common sense, but from my own personal perspective, when I have one of you guys on the podcast, I know your story. You know, I know your backstory. I know your story. I know all this. I want to know how you do, right? Not because I'm invested. It's like, man, this guy went through all this shit, and he had to deal with this, and he had to deal with this, and you know, this is the way. Then boom, like, so I'll look at, you know, the rankings of all that, and 3 or 4 of the guys I've had out there. The other ones, who the fuck are they? Yeah, you know, well, maybe I'll have more. You know, then, but that gets that person invested to be able to know, because they'll relate. Yeah, like people will relate to something that you've said. Yes, but then they want to know how you did. That's just basic storytelling, right? Yeah. And it's authentic. It doesn't have to be authentic. I mean, it can be made up. Yeah. It doesn't really matter, you know, if it's going to get people's eyes to be able to watch. Yes. And a lot of the lifters are doing it themselves, you know, just by posting however they're going to post. Yeah. But they're doing it in the wrong way. Yes. Right? Because either the authenticity is just too far fucked up, and it's not the right balance of person and lifting. Yeah. And they don't have to tell their whole life. You know, nobody wants to put their life online, right? Yeah. But you put enough out there that people can, you do it. It's not hard to pin a post. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. To be able to know who this person is, it's that they can relate to and follow, you know, which is great for the sport. Oh yeah, I agree. But I think there's a balance of, you have to get the lifters to be involved to get people invested, but then you also have to still keep you have to keep the fan engaged. I get we have to use kilos. Every person that goes into a meet as a fan should have a conversion chart. It does not cost a lot to make copies. Like, you put them on every chair you set up, have a conversion chart. So one, these people coming can know that 5 reds is with a squat bar 606. You need to show the lifters. So, because not everyone that's going to be at the meet is following everyone on social media, pamphlets showing who's in what weight class, showing if there is a head-to-head battle, showing if someone is this close to a state or regional or world record, and it can get them more involved of, well, wow, looking at this guy, Zach Myers, he seems really strong. I've never heard of him, but he might be able to take the all-time world record squat. I'm going to have to pay attention when he steps up. I'm not going to step away because my buddy is not lifting. And it's going to put more, you have to put a lot of time into that as a meet director. And I get that. They already are working very hard. But it's that extra step to get the fans involved and be more interactive that will help the sport grow to where it's going to bring more people back, in my eyes. It's the only way we grow. What can the meet directors do to make it better for you, for the lifters? So I think that we need to take a step back with these big meets having huge venues, because we can't afford it. Because one thing, and I don't care about it, but lifters complain, oh, I want a bigger payout. You know, where's the payout? Where's the money? I don't care if there's a payout, because like I said, our generation, we're not going to see where you get paid livable money. But if we take a step back and don't do a big venue for these pro meets, and instead we have a more of a smaller venue, it doesn't have to be like a box, but bring it back to maybe York Barbell, where it's just like a little auditorium,
and you put more money into the meet being ran professionally and put more money into the lifters, and not just with a payout, but like Abs does little goodie bags. That's huge. Makes you feel special. Makes you feel like you're not just a dollar sign for signing up for a meet. If they can put more money into promoting the meet, like an actual marketing of the meet, not just their one video that they'll make hyping up the meet that they post every single week or month, where it's like, we get it, we know what this is. Put money into building stories behind the lifters. If you have, say, I'm trying to think of a weight class, Andrew House and Zach Myers, both 140s. If you have them both signed up for a meet, if you're a meet director, instead of having all this money into a big venue, have at least a fraction of that money into promoting these two going head to head, because they're two massive mammoth men that squat almost 1,000. Andrew just hit 1,000. Zach's right there. There's no reason that if you market that properly, that seeing those two go head to head, that should get more views than this stupid slap boxing that goes on, or people that do, and I used to bowl, but bowling professionally, like, I would love to see two guys that are about to squat 1,000 pounds and see who's stronger than any of these other sports that are blowing us out of water. But they don't market the lifters. They don't try to promote any of the lifters to that degree. They'll do like a live stream Q&A, which is a start, but all these live streams they have at meets, that's like so high end. If you just take that and invest that into the lifters to get the story for them, which one, it gives you more content as a meet director, not just for this meet, down the line. And if they take away from all these like huge Titantrons and these huge walls where it puts our face on it, like, oh, next up is this. You don't need that. That's so much money that's being wasted that could be put into marketing the meet and promoting it, opposed to making sure it looks like a pro event. I don't care if it looks like a pro event. Is it a pro event?
Mm-hmm.
And that's not so much with the payout. It's how much are you putting into it with getting the lifters so, I don't want to say popular, but I guess in this term, like so built up for the meet that people want to come see. Because that's a pro event. Like if a baseball game's going on, there's a crowd there. That makes it a pro event. Otherwise, it's just at a field and people are playing ball.
Yeah. Well, if it's being live streamed or broadcasted, there's only so much room that's in the screen.
Yeah.
That's the only area that has to look pro. You know, it can be a shithole outside of that one little area, as long as the lifters have what they need to be able to warm up and all this other kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But that's what's being broadcasted to be able to see.
Yeah.
You know, so the marketing aspect is definitely one. Now, if they do it, if they don't, you know, who knows?
Yeah.
Competition's always a good thing. But when federations come and go so fast, there's not enough competition.
But federations shouldn't even matter, because look at strongman. Like, granted, the strongmen can name feds and we can name powerlifting feds, but like plenty of people watch strongman. They can't name what fed is what, or what competition Thor does or anything like that. They just know it's strongman competition. And that's it. We should be thinking of it the same.
Yeah.
A fed should not matter. It should be who's competing. Are people invested in this person? That's going to be a huge meet. I want to be a part of that. We also don't, it shouldn't be untested and tested. Like at the end of the day, just say what meet it is. On the forums you can have if it's going to be drug tested or not. But the fact that on Lifting Cast, every meet's like untested this or untested that. It's going to
stay untested?
Some of them do, yeah. Some meets say untested. Powerlifting United, I'll give them credit. They're doing it now. Like nationals, tested and untested were competing together, and just it was a different division. Just like, you know, if you're masters or stuff like that. But having untested on the name of like the aspect of the sport and like that side, it just hinders too, because then it's going to raise questions for people that are going to be fans that they don't need to ask. Like it's
powerlifting.
Yeah, it's powerlifting. Like there's so many questions, like IPF with the whole bench arch. with the, oh, you have to have elbow depth. That makes no fucking sense to anyone. And even you watch it now, people get called on it, and the refs don't even know, like, oh, well, I guess it was a depth. I don't know if it was. And there's just so many other stupid rules and regulations that people just, like dots. I don't know that formula. Do you, if someone asks you right now, can you tell me the dots formula of how your weight in total gets you this number?
Personally, I don't like any of the formulas.
Not yeah,
right? Because they're always going to skew. Like, I don't know if you have somebody that's a 148
mm-hmm.
and it's maybe it was dots, and if it's dots and they're using that 148 pound lifter needs to break the all-time world record by 300 pounds to have a dots that's going to be competitive with the top three. Yeah. Now, how fucked up is that?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know why they just don't look at the all-time world records, kick out whatever's, you know, just really out of hand.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's always one person that's like,
yeah,
you know, the 242's got an all-time world record of the super heavyweight, you know, so kick that motherfucker out, right? Kick him out and then base the formula off the all-time world records. How fucking difficult is that?
Yeah.
You know, because you shouldn't be able to go to a meet and beat an all-time world record by 20% or 10%. And then you'll lose by somebody that was 200 pounds off an all-time world record.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
Just because they're smaller.
Yeah. But either way, I mean, there's always going to be issues when it comes to formulas. But to your point, no powerlifter can tell you how the formula is put together.
Yeah.
You know, if it's dots, Wilks, or whatever it is, not one can. Yeah, you just kind of know this one works really well if you're like 220 to 240. This one's good if you're heavier.
Yeah.
This is good for the lighter.
Yeah.
And that's all you fucking know. But your person in the crowd, they're not going to understand, why did that person win?
Yeah.
They lifted less weight.
Mm-hmm. They have no idea what's going on. And it just raises more questions like, well, if there's this many questions, I don't really want to pay attention to this. I'll watch something else, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And we need to, as much as we need to keep in mind, how do we make meets better for the lifter? We need to think, how do we make meets better for the regular everyday person that just wants to support, you know? And if we start doing that, I feel like it definitely could grow a lot faster than even it did with the COVID boom, to where we can have, you know, maybe sold out meets to where people are like, yeah, I have to be here for that competition.
Well, I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah.
But if you go to any local meet, if you can get the people outside the first two rows who are sitting back further, who are reading a book, scrolling on their phone, you know, if you can get them to engage in what's going on, then you're onto the right thing.
Yep.
Because any local meet, most of the people there, because they have family there,
Yeah.
they're just like fucking around waiting until you lift.
Yep.
And then in that time period, you know, they have no idea what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
Figure that problem out.
Yeah. There's meets I'd spot and load at where there's people having full on meals in the front row. And I'm like,
that's front row. That's really bad.
yeah. I'm like, well, one is bad because I smell it. I'm like, damn, now I want to say it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, if we need them engaged to where they forget that they're hungry. They just are there watching these lifters and they're like, oh man, my buddy Brian's up already. I've been enjoying watching all these other guys come in.
Yes.
But I think another huge part is like, it definitely comes down to battles. Like, people like head to heads. I mean, John Hack, back when he was IPF, he had the head to heads with, I think it was Gibbs. That took off for Worlds. People, I think that kind of projected John into being who he is now. And then after John, it was Russell Orhe, and his battles that he had, that just, people loved it. People got engaged and involved. Amanda Lawrence and Daniela Mello for IPF as well, for the female side. People love battles. And if you don't have that, unless you're a world record and like really like Dan Grigsby, where you're pulling over 1,000 pounds, that will draw some people. But if you want the real people in that are there for every meet, It's the battles to see, you know, who's going to be the best, not just, oh, well, he's going to pull 1,000. I'll make sure to be there, you know? Like, you want them there at every meet, not just the one meet where a lifter says, I'm going for an all-time world record.
Yeah. Yeah. Were there any other topics you wanted to talk about I didn't bring up?
I think we talked about a good amount. I do want to do a little, speaking of the head-to-heads, a little shit talk.
Yeah.
Just because it is this podcast. This is one other thing I did before Zeus. You know, I beat him first. Now I'm here, so he's in for a rude awakening for May. You know, I got a lot of momentum going now. But
that's the best you can do.
Well, you said it's YouTube. I'm not trying to get you kicked off of YouTube, you know? So the meet happening is ABS, Virginia Beach. It's his hometown, and it's my birthday week. And even though you're supposed to, you know, the hometown advantage, have that, I can definitely assure my birthday weekend in his hometown, in front of his fans, in front of his family, from his gym.
Here we go. Now you're getting there.
Oh, I am wiping the floor with Zeus. Zeus, I don't care what I squat. My bench and deadlift, everything is going to make you want to give up. You might not even make it to deadlifts. I don't care if you're injured. I don't care if you're healthy. Come May 30th, when I step on that platform, it's the end of you. Zeus is going to be slaughtered. Remember that.
That's better.
Thank you.
All right. How can people go about following you? What's the best way to follow you?
So I do Instagram and TikTok. Instagram is Delco_Jesus. TikTok is just Delco Jesus. And then I also, like I said, I'm doing coaching now. So that can be found in the bio on my Instagram. I also am sponsored by 110% pre-workout. I love their stuff because it's a lot of natural ingredients. So you can always use code Delco for that.
All right. Thank you for coming out. This has been great.
Thank you.
We're done. All content you see on this channel and at elitefts.com is created by, take a guess, Elite FTS. If you want to help support the content, head over to elitefts.com and pick up literally anything that you need to be able to get more jacked and strong.